What else is left? Oh yeah, you guys read
So
Oyasumi
for our
Punpun.
life,
So why do the patrons want us to read Oyasumi Punpun so badly?
I don't know.
That's so crazy.
It's something that me and Connor haven't read, and it's an iconic manga.
It's one of my favorite manga.
Yeah.
The only downside of this format of this I guess this type of show,
There's not enough time.
Not enough time, and
Yeah.
I thought Oyasumi Punpun was a short manga. I was wrong.
No.
It's like 147 chapters.
13 volumes.
13
Yeah,
volumes.
so quite a long time. And I was going into it like obviously you've heard like it's the saddest fucking manga of all time.
Yeah.
You try not to cry challenge, impossible difficulty. It is like I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And I talked about this in the thing where I remember you explaining why he is Punpun,
Yeah.
but I totally forgot why it was. So I don't know why he's Punpun.
Oh,
do you mean?
as in like why he's a bird and
he's a
everyone
bird
else
and-
is a human?
Yeah.
Is that just an
but-
artistic choice?
There's
Is
theory.
it okay? Before you tell me anything, is it ever explained in the
No.
thing? Okay, so it's just fan theories. Why?
There's fan theories, but essentially there is a hint right near the end
Okay,
where there's like this one frame where one of the characters draws a picture of Punpun
yeah.
and he's a human.
Oh, okay.
So the theory is that
That's just how he sees the world?
everyone in the world sees Punpun as a human.
Oh yeah, that's what I
but you
figured.
as the reader
Yeah.
sees him as this bird.
yeah, that's what I figured too.
But it's and there's multiple theories as to why that may be the case.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I assumed it was like an odd taxi kind of like deal.
Yeah.
You know?
So yeah, I think the most accepted theory is the fact that he purposefully made this character very non-human like so that
I just realized we should probably explain roughly the first.
oh yeah.
Before we get into
Yeah,
that.
before we get too
Sorry.
deep into it. Let
Sorry.
me know your thoughts
Okay, so
first.
well, how about Garn? Because I'm not a good explainer. You explain the rough start.
The rough starts of Punpun. I can't remember everything that happened because a lot of this was just build up with the characters. So you get introduced to Punpun and he's kind of just a kid. And I think the first 2 volumes I read were very, very indicative of just
Being a kid.
being a kid. But the anxieties you have as a kid, the biggest struggles that Punpun deals with, aside from we'll get into like his family stuff, is liking girls.
Yeah.
And getting
Puberty,
bitches,
basically,
basically.
yeah.
It's just puberty.
yeah, it's
you know?
puberty.
Yeah.
It's going through puberty, being confused with all these hormones that he obviously has right now, and just trying to swoon the girl that he likes at the moment, and also just deal with school life and kids being weird and mean and sometimes, and also he doesn't have the greatest family life either because I think the first chapter ends with his dad I'm not sure if he goes to jail or gets arrested, but he basically decks his mum in the head.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much.
Fucking Dixon in the fucking head, lads. Whoppa! Gives him a little something.
Give him a little one too.
His mum goes to hospital. I mean, am I wrong?
I was thinking of which word you were going to use.
Yeah,
and deck was not on the line.
Just
I
the
was
phrasing.
I was like, domestic abuse, violent towards.
He fucking decks her.
Fucking decks him. Fucking decks him, lads.
Puts her ass on the floor.
I was like, I had no idea what you were going to go for. So
Yeah.
It's heavily implied that he was like
It was
abusive.
domestic abuse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Heavily implied.
And then he does the thing where he's like, but then he tries to be like a good dad.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, where he's like, hey, here's a telescope I brought you, son. Hey,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and he seems like a good dad. And then his uncle's like, hey, he's just, he means well.
Yeah.
He's just.
And also he
An
has
abuse.
he has this weird kind of like ritual that I think is going to prevail during this entire manga, where he can call God,
yeah.
God,
at any time.
Seeing that image of God, I was like, oh, I've seen this fucking face.
Yes, this is where the face
This
comes
is where it
from.
comes
So can you show the face? Because it's fun to show.
Yeah.
So if you haven't read
Just
it,
look up Punpun God.
there is this very out of place
Yeah.
face that pops up all the time.
That's him.
And you've probably seen this face a couple of times if you're an anime fan, because a lot of people have this as a profile picture.
Yeah.
They have this fucking smiling face
Yeah.
as their profile picture.
And God appears after he does a chant.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
close,
and I feel like it's his kind of like coping mechanism a lot of the times. And so like other things
You
happen.
can close it now.
Yeah. other things happen, like he confesses to the girl that he likes,
Aiko.
Turns out Aiko also likes him as well. And he gets he wins in chapter 3. He gets a fucking kiss, baby.
Yes, sir.
Already ahead of every other
Chad
romance.
Punpun.
Yeah. Already ahead of every other
Punpun
protagonist.
doesn't wait till day 3.
Yeah.
He goes in day 2.
Exactly. And then you kind of just follow his life as a kid. I'm not going to spoil everything because there's like 27 chapters.
Yeah, what happens?
A lot happens in 27 chapters. But I would say the biggest thing that I liked about it was the character writing was just top tier.
Yeah.
You know, reading this very much brought me back to all the insecurities I had as a kid. And even though not all the same things happen, it happened in my life as what happened in Punpun's life, because there's this whole side arc where they go to a mochi factory because they're trying to find a dead body.
Yep.
That they
treasure,
a treasure, a dead body. From some rumor they heard from this videotape. Like a lot of weird shit happens, but I would say that it totally encapsulates the feeling of just your hormones in puberty are hitting, you're confused, you don't know what the world is like, and you're just trying to be a kid and you're just fucking confused.
Because the thing is that, like, you know, puberty, like exploring puberty and like growing up is such a common theme that's used in a lot of manga and anime, but I think Oyasumi Punpun does it the best, like hands down.
I would say the biggest warning lights for me out of like when I think I realized why people were so invested in this and why this is going to be a really sad manga is just how much I related to the feelings of that stage of his life, right? And every time I turned the page, I was like, I hope something bad doesn't happen. I hope something bad doesn't happen. And I know something bad's going to happen.
I almost had the opposite where I was like, I want something bad just to happen, just to get it out of the way. Because you just knew it was cooking.
Yeah, you knew.
And I was like, just get it out of there. Just rip off the Band-Aid. And I was kind of hoping for that, or not hoping, I was waiting for that big moment. And it like never came. And I realized, oh no, it's just a death by 1,000 cuts situation.
I think it is. I think it is.
I was like, oh.
Yeah.
It just gets progressively slightly worse and worse and worse.
And although I couldn't, I didn't experience a lot of the stuff that Punpun experienced.
Yeah.
There's a few things where I was like, yeah, it feels real.
Yeah.
Where the girl you liked, you see her with another guy. You're like,
Yeah.
You're like, fuck. We had something. I thought we had something.
There were 2 moments that really fucking hit me in this one. The first moment, and it's like you said, the death by 1,000 cuts, where the first moment was kind of like the build up to like the domestic abuse part, where you see the mum getting hit. And you see Punpun's inner monologue being like, Punpun never really loved his mother. I'm like, what the fuck, Punpun? Bro, what the fuck? And then there's this moment later where obviously his parents are having an argument and his mum says something that a mother should never say in anger at all. And Punpun hears it. And I'm like, holy shit, this is getting a little bit too real right now. And then there's this small moment where his mum and Punpun go, his mum takes Punpun out, and then they're in a taxi, and his mum's like, take us to the sea, please. Take us to the ocean. And the taxi driver makes a joke, and then the mum's like, actually, it's okay. Just take us back. And I'm like, oh my God. No fucking way.
That was like, fucked. I was like, that's crazy. You're going to take Punpun with you?
Yeah. I'm like, that's fucked. That's actually fucked.
Yeah. And I guess that's why, like, I thought it was really well written, because obviously and I think in a textbook situation like this where the dad is abusive, you would immediately think like, poor mother.
Poor mother.
Obviously. And like you do think that, but like, they also wrote this abusive dad in a very like sympathetic way, in the sense that like he really tried to be a dad for Punpun whilst being completely unprepared and knowing how to deal with a marriage and a marriage that wasn't healthy. So like they were both 2 people who maybe at some point were good people who this marriage has ruined both of them. And they're both terrible people in their own way, but obviously the dad was much more terrible. But they put extra emphasis on trying to redeem the dad to make you feel like it's not so black and white.
Yeah.
And Punpun really likes his dad.
Yeah.
And you're like, God, but you shouldn't, because the reason your mom is even like this is because of him. And like, it's a very like fucked up situation. And it really like made you constantly try to get rid of your black and white view into the situation.
You could tell even in this early age, Punpun is just a broken fucking kid.
Oh yeah.
Which you know, he wears the scars of the household that he grew up in.
I'm saying he can't even deal with like simple like everyday life emotional situations that he should be prepared to deal with.
Yeah, exactly. My favorite character so far is probably the uncle character.
Yeah, Uncle's the goat.
Uncle. I'm not going to look at Joey. Uncle is just like...
I'm sure he's got some skeletons in his closet.
Yeah, everyone does. Everyone.
He's put in the work.
But I just felt like everything that happened with the uncle, I'm just like, you know what? He's the logical one.
I think he's a great guy.
I think he is as well.
He's great. I'm sure there's nothing bad about the uncle.
Nah, nothing at all. Don't worry, guys.
I'm going to continue looking at the camera. I'm like, the uncle, he gets it. You know,
I'm sure he's great.
He's the one.
He probably takes him on vacation.
Out of all of Punpun's like
he's
immediate family, out of all Punpun's immediate family, you could tell he was the one that tried to like be a good role model for Punpun the most. He was out of everyone. He was like his best role model so far. He was his best role model.
No, this is chapter 27.
Yes, best role model so far, and you know. He was the one who gave Punpun this little chant to, you know, call on God whenever you need him, whenever you're going through something bad. And you could tell that Punpun very much respects his uncle and internalized that. And you could tell that his uncle very much knows the effect that he had on Punpun. Like, I think the line that really hit me was when his uncle was talking to Punpun's mum, also his sister, where he's like, man, I see the kids and I just want to sort my life out. Just because whenever I see Punpun, I just want to be a better person. I'm like, fuck me, man. I respect that. And the scene that kind of like, you know, broke my heart a little bit was the scene where there's these two religious fanatics that are obviously part of a cult. And the uncle's trying to be very patient with them.
Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah. Trying to say, I respect your beliefs, but I do not believe the same thing. Please leave me alone. And this old cult lady just will not give it up to the point where it builds up and it boils to this uncle being like, I don't even fucking believe in God. There is no God. And Punpun just like
standing right there.
Punpun stands right there. And I'm like, oh man, I feel so bad for Punpun. My heart sank for Punpun right there because every kid needs hope.
Does the manga eventually cover him as an adult?
Oh yeah.
Oh fuck.
So you guys have experienced. So as Punpun gets older, his visual slightly change as well.
Right.
I notice everyone is ugly as well. Everyone is drawn kind of like a little. What's the valley thing called? Creepy.
Uncanny Valley.
Yeah,
Uncanny Valley.
Just slightly creepy looking.
So I think that was a purposeful artistic choice. So like one of the reasons why, this is my interpretation of it, but one of the reasons why Asano Inio decided to draw Punpun and his immediate family as these bird creatures is one, so that you could put yourself in his shoes without having to like look past any kind of like human-like facade.
That makes sense, yeah, because if you saw like a black-haired woman and you have a blonde mom.
Then you'd be like, oh, that's not...
I don't relate.
Yeah, I can't relate. But like by making them not human, it's a lot easier to put yourself into it.
Yeah.
Number two, it's to also make... It's using this cute aesthetic to get you to emphasize with these cutesy characters to make the human characters look more hideous.
Yeah, which they definitely do.
Which they definitely do, but at the same time, it makes the shocking scenes more shocking.
Yeah.
Because you're not expecting these cutesy characters to do and say and act in these very human and very like filthy human ways.
Yeah.
You know, which is unfortunately for a lot of people a reality.
Even if nothing bad further is like happens to Punpun, I think he's so unable to deal with his emotions currently that he just wouldn't. His adult life will be miserable regardless.
Yeah. I mean, I think
so. Even if nothing else bad happens, which I'm sure will happen,
Yeah.
Oh, it does.
Because that's how life works.
Yeah.
I'm glad you guys are talking about this much about the manga already in his child phase, because I'm just gonna let you know now, there is not a single good character in this manga.
Yeah.
Which is also kind of, I mean, when we have depressing stories like this, and there's like, the takeaway is everyone is bad. It's like, well,
it's not quite. It's not that simple though. It's not that simple.
Yeah, I don't see the case of like everyone is bad. I just see the case that everyone is broken, and sometimes broken people surround themselves with other broken people.
Yeah.
Is everyone in the real world broken?
Maybe.
I don't know, man.
I mean, that's
Makes you think.
Yeah, I mean, it really
chew on.
like even though nothing
We live in a
truly,
society.
Yeah, we do.
even though nothing truly sad or like heartbreaking happens, there was this air of just melancholy that just like that's just encapsulated the entire first few volumes that I've read.
Yeah.
And there was one thing that genuinely did surprise me about Punpun that I wasn't expecting. Sometimes funny.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
The group jack-off session? Yeah. What is up with that? But I won't be remiss, when you're a kid, you think porn is like the coolest thing ever, and that, you want to, you and the boys want to get together and watch it.
What's that lining in that Punpun says where he's like, my brains just came out of my penis?
Yeah, he was like, my brain has liquefied and come out my penis. And then he asked his uncle, and this is why I was like, uncle's a real G. Because like, if I was the uncle, I don't know if I could like stop myself from being, well, yeah, that's 2 minutes off your life, Punpun. Your brain, a part of your brain is just liquefied. That's it. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't jack off. And the uncle was just like straight up with him. He's a better man than me.
Yeah. I would have been laughing my ass off.
Yeah.
The only issue I have with it is I don't know when I would be in the mood to finish reading.
That's it.
It's just such a, like, for as interesting and as well written as it is, it kind of was a slog.
Oh yeah, it's
like,
a slow burner.
You're like, okay,
yeah,
okay. Punpun is not okay, because it's pretty much like Punpun's family does something bad. Punpun emotionally can't deal with something. Punpun gets anxious, and that's kind of like the circle that you're in for like the first 30 chapters. You're like, come on, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a slow burn, but I just like, I was still like super absorbed reading the first two volumes because I didn't know what was going to happen, and I feel like I fucking love that with a story where you know something is going to happen, but you don't know what, you don't know when. And just seeing Punpun's whole life story unfold was not exactly a wild ride, but it was something that always kept me on my toes.
I'm just assuming it doesn't have a good ending because no one talks about this as being like a good thing. So that's why I'm kind of sad about knowing that I'm just watching the downfall. Here's
the thing:
redeeming.
I can't even call the ending good or bad.
Yeah.
Because it's so he does this brilliant thing where, like, I'm not going to give it away, obviously, but he ends it on this double page spread that is so open for interpretation. Okay. Where it's like you can perceive it. I can see how people can perceive it in a good way, but you can also perceive it in a oh god kind of way.
Okay.
And
if I ever get there, I'll let you know.
If you get there, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, and people have read it know exactly what I'm talking about. But like, it's that ending blew me away, where I was like, wow, after all of that, you're not even going to give us the satisfaction of a conclusive ending.
Yeah.
And that broke my heart. But it's brilliant.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to read it. It's
brilliant.
I mean, it's just you got to build up the courage to like keep
It's just
going.
a long time to be sad for.
It is. It is.
What is it, like an 8-hour read? Like, it's just going to be 8 hours of...
It's like 120 something chapters.
Just depression for like a whole
I
fucking...
mean, after reading the first two volumes, I know I'm going to love this.
Yeah, it's hard to even say love.
Me too. And I recognize I love it, but I just don't want to be sad.